Hey guys, this is a Rock Howard tutorial. For some reason, I don't see a lot of Rock Howards on streams or in tournaments. I wonder why that is, because he's a very easy character to use. He's got high damage, he's got easy confirms, he can go anywhere in the position. So maybe I'm just watching the wrong things, or people are just afraid to deviate from the mains like Iori and Kula and Robert. But in any case, I'm going to go over his entire move set of normals and specials in great detail so you can get an idea of how to optimize Rock as a character. Alright, so one thing I'm going to go over his close normals. So first and foremost, like many close A's in the game, it's a anti-air, anti-hop more specifically. So, you know, if you see characters jumping in at you a lot, especially if they're hopping in on you multiple times, you just want to throw it out. And even if you get the far A, it's still going to anti-air them. Alright, another thing about his close A is that it's +3 on block, which makes it +5 on hit, which means that he can link it into his close C. So a very useful thing to do is when you get a knockdown, go ahead and meet it with a jab. Oops, that was a executional mistake. Go ahead and meet it with a jab. They might block the A, but they won't block the C. Maybe they're pressing a button or mashing in between. And then if you get a hit, it's a easy hit confirm. Going from there. Alright, close B. I'm not sure why this exists. I guess it can kind of work as an anti-hop, but A is just better for that because as you just saw there, you might get an accident on a far B, which doesn't hit upward. So the only reason you're gonna get this is if you're doing your B links and then you're too close, so you get the close B instead. So, but otherwise, this is a button you can go ahead and ignore. It is +2 on block, but you can't link anything after it like his close A, and it starts up in 6 frame, which makes it slower than his close A. So generally, it's just his close A is just better to use. Close C, it's your hit confirm. Goes into his command normal. Comes out really fast and comes out in 5 frames, so it's pretty fast for a close normal. Compared to his close D, the C version is better because it's a better hit confirm, it's faster, and also the D version doesn't do any more damage. So I'm not sure why it exists, because the D version, it's not a meaty, comes out slower, does less damage, it does combo into the same normals and stuff, does have the same cancel properties, but there's really no point in using it. And also the range detection, let's see, so I get a close C at that distance. Well, the range detection is about the same, it's not any better or worse than the close C. So close D, like your close B, is a button that you can just safely ignore, so don't worry about it. Far normals, so far A is basically your close version of close A. It's an anti-hop, you can't combo into it or anything. You can link into it, but you can't cancel from it. And I believe it kind of whiffs over crouching characters too, so strictly use it as your anti-hop tool. Far B for Rock is really good. It links from his Bs. You can get up to 4 hits with it. Makes it easy for hit confirms into quick max. And the best thing about his Far B is that it's special cancelable. So you can get, if you're playing Rock on point, you can get really easy hit confirms. It helps you with the with the on point situation with no bar and whatnot. So it's generally a great button to use, and it's a decent poke. Alright, Far C. This is a decent poke, but it's really negative because it's -10 on block, which makes it extremely punishable. So let me go ahead and show you the properties. Let me put them on guard. So Rock doesn't have a button that can punish this move, but he does have Shine Knuckle. And that time I botched it. Alright, maybe EX Shine Knuckle. There we go. Huh, okay. Well, actually let me try Hard Edge. Nah, it's too slow. But some characters with longer normals, for example, Ralph, Clark, anything that comes out, any far normal that comes out and reaches in under 10 frames would be able to punish his Far C. So don't throw it out very much. Actually, don't throw it out at all. The only reason I would throw it out is if, let's say you're in a situation you're close enough at this distance and then you want to go into a quick max. So if you ever have this, if you ever throwing out this move, just go into a quick max to make it safe. Alright, Fardy. This is going to be an anti-air. The range horizontally is not good, so obviously you don't want to use it on someone who's crouching or standing or on the ground. Just use it for somebody who's jumping in. Here's a great example. Alright, that time I'm just mistiming my jump-ins really bad, and I set the dummy to use his jumping D too early. There we go. Alright, I'm still fucking it up. There we go. Alright, that example of how a far D works as an anti-air on my part, but it's a great hitbox. Works better against full jump-ins. You just want to use it better than me than what I was doing right now, but it's a really great anti-air. Alright, crouching normals. We have crouching A, crouching B. These are pretty standard. There's nothing really special to them. Crouching B, it's +2, so you can combo it into his crouching C. That's pretty much the only thing that's noticeable about it. But I'm gonna go ahead and skip over crouching B and A because they're pretty standard. Crouching C. Now this is really fast. It comes out in 4 frames. It's good. It's your anti-air. It combos into his command normal. It's special cancelable. Links from crouching B. So if you're doing an empty jump, that won't reach. But if you're doing an empty jump and you want a hard normal to get in there, crouching C will be it. Alright, and crouching D. This is a sweep. It's pretty average. It's cancelable even on whiff, so if you just want to throw out like this, you do have that option. But I wouldn't use this very much because if you're going to be using crouching D, there's other buttons you could be using instead. Like most games, sorry, not most games, but like most sweeps in this game, it's pretty punishable from a hop in, and a lot of players are going to be hopping in on you, so it's a button you kind of want to not throw out. I guess if you want to cover yourself just in case that happens, you can go ahead and cancel it into his counter or something that will kind of protect you, but otherwise it's kind of a risky hard read to do. Alright, air normals. So we have jumping A, B, C, and D. He doesn't have anything that's specific to the neutral jump. So let's go over this real quick. Jumping A, it's your air to ground. Kind of how to hit it late though. Actually, compared to other jumping A's, the air to ground properties of this is not that great because a lot of characters you can throw out the A at this height, let him land, and then the jumping A will still connect. But for Rock, that's not the case. You're better off using his jumping C and jumping D if you want to go air to ground. Jumping B, you can tell obviously it's strictly for air to airs. It's gonna whiff on crouching characters. Jumping C is pretty good. It comes out slower than jumping D, surprisingly. Though, if you're gonna be using jumping C, there's not really a point to it because jumping D outshines it in every aspect. As an air to air, it's perfect for air to air situations just because of the angle and the speed, and you can use it on grounded opponents. It has an excellent arc, and since it comes out pretty fast, you don't have to worry about it coming out too slow. So air normals, just use jumping D in general and jumping B for air to airs. Alright, blowbacks. So Rock standing blowback has good range. It comes out kind of slow though, and it's -4. It's not too bad for a blowback on block. You can go ahead and cancel it if you want, but there's a move I wouldn't really use too often unless you have them in a corner and you have some sort of corner sort of setup with it and you want to do a conversion such as this. For example, you just poking them and then they try to poke out, but then they're out of range. Then you could stick this out. It's a common tactic. It's not specific to Rock, but it is something. It is something that his blowback allows him to do. If you do get a blowback in a corner situation like this, you can combo it into a Reppukian into his far A. But the timing and the range is a little bit specific. So that's a conversion you can do. Now if you want to know how to set this up, I usually do it from 3 normals, and then the spacing should be there. Actually, let me put this character on block. There we go. Now on block's done, the pushback is different. There we go. So just to recap, if you want to do that corner conversion using his blowback and you're pressuring a character in the corner, just use crouching B 2 times, standing, and then far B, and then if they block all of it, you're in range for that setup with the blowback. Alright, jumping blowback. This is very downward angle blowback. It's really good for Rock because if you're hopping over fireballs, you can cover yourself with this blowback, and most likely it's going to hit even crouching characters. You just have to do it. If you do it too early, of course it will whiff. But so if you do it a little bit later in your jump, you'll be able to lock them down with a blowback. Well, that's about it for his blowbacks. Let's move on to his command elbow spike. It's going to be forward A. There's no reason to use it raw. If you use it raw, you can still cancel it. But really, there's no point to doing it raw. It's kind of not safe to do. So his command normal can only combo off of hard normals. You can't do it off of lights. Although one thing you can do on block is to set up a block string like this. Oops. So something like that. You know, you can do this. Whoops. So if they block the lights but then they try to press buttons out of it, they're gonna get hit by this command normal, and if they block the elbow, they could still get hit by the Reppuken if they drop their guard. And after the Reppuken, you're gonna be safe from at this distance. So if you throw out a far C and tag them with it, you can convert it into a quick max. So that's one setup you could do with his command normal on block from lights. So even if it doesn't combo from lights, there's still a purpose for it. So that's just one example. There's many other situations you can use it. It's all up to your creativity and how you want to innovate it. Alright, now let's go over with his other command normal, the parabola kick, which is forward B. There's an overhead. One thing about Rock's overhead is that it has this property of lower body invincibility. So let me demonstrate that. See, most characters, they don't have this weird property of lower body invincibility with their overheads. So as you can see, I'm mashing shorts and it's whiffing. See, if he runs into it, right, he's gonna get hit. But once he throws out the overhead, even the sweep will not reach. Look at that shit. The sweep clearly should hit him, but then because it has some lower body invincibility, it whiffs completely. So it's a relatively safe kind of overhead, I guess, or a little bit rigged in that sense. But anyways, the main purpose of this overhead is obviously just to convert into a quick max confirm. As an overhead, the range for this is pretty decent. You know, you can hit him from this far and you can still convert into a full quick max combo. So yeah, that's with Rock. What else? You can string it from lights too, but unlike his elbow, you can't special cancel it. So there's no point to doing this from lights. And of course, if you do it from lights or you cancel into it, it's not gonna have its overhead properties. So again, another reason why you shouldn't do it, except, you know, as a raw overhead. Alright, let's move on to his specials. First off with his Reppuken. So Reppuken, compared to other projectiles in this game, is pretty slow. It comes out fast. This is the A version. It comes out fast. There's no difference between the A and C version in terms of damage. The A version travels slower. The C version travels faster but has more recovery. And obviously the A version has less recovery. On block, if you want to have positive frames, there's a certain distance that you should be using it at. So for example, let me go ahead and try to set this up. So let me see at this distance if it's positive. Yeah, that distance is positive from here. A little bit closer and you're still slightly positive from this distance. So you can go ahead and use strings like this and you got to be relatively positive compared to the other compared to your opponent. And the reason why this is important is if you have them in the corner and you're frame trapping them with fireballs like Reppuken, then they try to press a retaliatory button in the corner. You can just smack them with, you know, a far normal of your own, such as far C, and then convert it into a quick max. But otherwise with Rock, I wouldn't use the Reppukens in general. Don't use it. I'll use it against characters that don't have fireballs. You would go ahead and use it. Against other characters that do have fireball, only use it to cancel out their fireballs. Otherwise, you should be trying to approach with Rock a lot of times because his fireball game is not that strong. You know, like Terry, they have a fireball, but it's not a strong, you know, it's not a strong tool for them. And also, there's no true block string involving the fireball. You can go ahead and do a frame trap like I showed you, but it's easily, the opponents can easily jump over and get a full punish on Rock. So it's something you kind of want to avoid using in general. Use it in specific situations, like for example you're fighting against Daimon or Maxima. You can go ahead and throw out Fireball and kind of test their reactions, but you can't throw it out and run with your Fireball in an attempt to trip guard them. So it's not going to add to your gameplay if you keep using it. Alright, EX Reppuken. This is a move that you want to use in combos a lot. It hits twice. It works like Geese's C Reppuken, right? The double Reppuken. So the first part of the Reppuken, he throws out this wave. It will cancel other fireballs, and then the second swipe, he throws the fireball out, and it travels really fast. And it does, surprisingly, it does the same amount of damage as his regular Reppukens. Obviously, if you're close up, both of their hits will connect, and when they do, it puts the character into a juggle state, and you can get a full combo. And it works in the corner or mid-screen. And this is going to be very useful to optimize your combo. Or in the corner, it also sets it up for a corner mix-up, but I'll go over that in a minute. But for example, something you want to do in a quick max combo with Reppuken is go into this to get more damage. So yeah, so it's strictly for combo purposes. Don't use it when you're in raw max after a drop combo. There's no reason to, it's not going to add to your gameplay throwing out EX Reppuken at neutral. Oh, another thing, if you are close enough and you're outside of a combo situation, you can go ahead and use it. It's +3 on block, so there's no, you know, you could use it to lock them down. Alright, what else? Hard Edge. So it's going to be Rock's main special tool that you're going to be using a lot. The A version can combo from lights. It doesn't do a hard knockdown, but he recovers fast enough that you can sort of lock them down on wake up. It gives him good corner carry distance, and it's best used from this string. Crouching B, forward B into a light hard edge. Now this move on block is punishable, so you don't want to throw this out too much. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that. There you go. It might be a little bit tricky to punish this just because of the distance. For example, at max range, it might not be punishable, and I can't even get the max range to connect. Maybe here. There we go. So at max range is not really punishable, but you don't want to try your chances with this. Alright, what else? Let's see. The hard version is 2 hits and does a hard knockdown, and it combos only from hard normals. So the knockdown distance is really good because once you do this, you get a free setup. You can run up all the way to your opponent and, you know, meaty them, lock them down, things like that. So even if it knocks them away, you still have the setup advantage on their wake up. On block, it's even more punishable than the light version. Very punishable, in fact. So, in fact, people can probably do a run up or that. So that was a full punish right there, and oh, whoops! Actually, they weren't guarding. Let me prove that theory. There we go. So the character is set to all guard, so he would have punished, or sorry, he would have blocked if I didn't punish him in time. But there you go, it's fully punishable, so you don't want to throw this out randomly. The EX version of this is a wall bounce. It's the same as the C version. It comes out faster, and it can combo from lights, and it gives them the wall bounce, so you could extend your combos in a quick max conversion. And it's still unsafe, just like the C version. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that. So less punishable than the C version, but still punishable. Let me find a button that Rock can punish with. I was trying to do this shine knuckle there. There we go. So I'm having a hard time finding a button that Rock can use to punish it, but characters like Geese, Ralph, Mui Mui, Loveheart, those are characters that have a normal that can reach and punish the EX hard edge. So it's not something you want to do if you're one of those people who drop a combo, you're in quick max, and you're trying to find a move to use to burn your quick max bar. Don't use EX hard edge. It's not gonna, you might get a lucky wall bounce confirmed, but it gets more experienced players to gonna be able to fully punish it. Alright, Rising Tackle. So this is gonna be Rock's reversal. Only the A version's invincible. Oh, and the EX version, of course. And the detection for this, the hit detection is better than Terry's, mainly because Rock's A version comes out more vertically, so it's more viable as a reversal. But again, just like with the Terry tutorial, don't try to use it when you're in a corner, because it's easy for them to jump over it. The C version is for combo purposes only, because you can break it, right? So use the C version. If you let it rip, then it'll do more damage than the A version, but there's no invincibility on it. But the main reason why you want to use the C version is to juggle. So after you get the C version, you can do a number of follow-ups. Mostly your follow-ups are more, there's more follow-ups when you have the corner. So I'll go over that. I'll go over what kind of follow-ups you can do once you're in the corner. Alright, and the EX version, you can't break it like the C version, but it's basically the A version, stronger, invincible, and faster. That's about it for EX Rising Tackle. There's really not much else to say about it. Alright, next up we have Rage Run. So Rock has two versions of this move. The B version is an overhead, which is unsafe, by the way, so it's not something you want to throw out randomly. It's fully punishable. Some players might have a weird time punishing it, but that's because it's only -4, so only really fast normals can punish it, like crouching C. So if your characters have normals that come out really slow, like Maxima or Chang and other heavy characters like that, then you're gonna have a hard time punishing Rage Run. Alright, once you do the Rage Run B version, you get a hard knockdown, and you can get some sort of setup like this, maybe a full jump in. Actually, yeah, you can definitely get a jump in. Yeah, a safe jump actually. The D version is Rage Shift. What's it called? It's just Rage Run Shift. The other one is Dunk, the B version. But when you do Rage Run Shift, if Rock will run probably half screen, yeah, he'll run half screen, and when he reaches opponents, he will go ahead and switch sides. But you have to be a little bit closer for the side switch to happen. For example, like this. So once he does this, he crosses over. It's mainly for mix-ups. If you do this on block, it's not a free setup. Let me see if it's punishable. Yeah, it's punishable. Definitely punishable. If you try to do this in the corner, he won't switch sides, obviously, because that's mainly the mechanic of KOF. like normal side switches, do not happen if the opponent is all the way in the corner. So this Rage Run shift is mainly used for mix-up purposes, and I'll cover what kind of mix-ups you can do when I cover the rest of his moves. But for now, let's go ahead and cover his EX version of Rage Shift. So the EX version is the same thing as the B version, the Dunk version. It's an overhead, and let's see, is it more punishable? Let me see. Yeah, this is actually more punishable than the B version. It's at -9, so they can do an even more slower button and it will connect for a full punish. But once you do get it, it gives them a ground bounce. You could do a number of follow-ups with this. So for example, you could do C rising tackle into a break, and there we go. You can get a full conversion off of it. What combo you kind of want to use afterwards is entirely up to you. This one seems to be a pretty good combo to use. So there's a number of things you can do with it. Yeah, if you land it, you know, you can get up to 500 damage or more. So it's a really good sort of mix-up to use, but just keep in mind that it is very punishable, and if your opponent is looking out for it, then he's gonna turn the tables on you instead. Alright, next up we got Crack Counter. So Rock has two versions of Crack Counter. The D version will counter anything that hits low, and the B version will counter anything that's physical. It doesn't matter if it's a jump in, if it's a normal on the ground, or a special that hits physically. And even supers and specials can be countered. So there you go. And every time you get the Crack Counter, Rock will do a hard knockdown kind of flip kick. Does 125 damage. If you hit low with it, if you use the low version, sorry, it's the same thing except it does a little bit less damage. Actually, I wonder why that is. Ah, how interesting. I just discovered that if you counter regular moves, it does 100 damage, but if you counter specials, that's also regular damage. But if you counter supers, oops. If you counter supers, he does a little bit extra damage, 125. So that's something I didn't know about until I was doing this tutorial, which is very interesting. That's really cool. Alright, so Crack Counter, it's not a viable reversal option. If the computer knocks you down, if opponent knocks you down and you wake up with it, you gotta get meatied. It's gonna be a counter hit, and it's just not a viable reversal option. So don't use it on wake up or reversal. You want to use it in anticipation and reaction on somebody else's moves. For example, if they're jumping on you, it's really easy to use. It's only quarter circle forward kicks, so you can pull out the counter really quick. And yeah, so let's see what else. EX Crack Counter, it'll counter everything except projectiles, of course. So this includes, actually I guess it doesn't combo lows. Yeah. Alright, so it'll counter everything that hits high or mid. And Rock Howard, he'll do a variation with the counter animation, and it puts him in a juggle state. And in this juggle state, you can get EX Hard Edge, but you do have to delay it. You have a lot of time to juggle afterwards, and because of that, you want to delay whatever move that you're trying to use to get the conversion off of it. And right now I'm just botching it right now. So for example that, and then you can go ahead and do a super after that. Now his EX Crack Counter can be used as a reversal option. So I'm gonna go ahead and wake up with it, and there you go. So you can use it on wake up if you happen to be in max mode and you just want to throw it out to get that combo, or to, you know, throw it out as a defensive measure. You can go ahead and do that. Alright, let's see. Oh, another thing about EX crack counter is that there's 2 frames of invincibility, so it is possible for them to whiff. Let me try to set it up. Alright, my hops are not coming up. There you go. So there you go. What I'm trying to show here is that here, if I don't do anything, this jump in will connect because it's being done as immediate. As soon as I wake up, I'm susceptible to a hit. But with crack counter, there's 2 frames of invincibility, meaning that in the first 2 frames that this move activates, if the other moves that's being thrown out is not activated anymore, it's gonna whiff my crack counter, which means I won't get the counter even if ordinarily that jump in would have hit. Now if I use a jump in that has more active frames, such as a jumping D, then it will activate the crack counter. Actually, I don't think this one's gonna activate just because I did it at the very end. But yeah, so that's one thing you want to keep in mind with the EX crack counter, and that is something that more experienced players will take advantage of if they know that you're trying to use EX crack counter. Alright, command normal. Sorry, no, here's command grab. So it's half circle back, forward punches. There we go. So the difference between the A and C version, there is no difference actually. It does the same damage, same amount of range. So there's no difference between the A and C version. So you don't have to worry about which button to press when you're executing his command grab. For his command grab, you can break it just like his C rising tackle, just like in Mark of the Wolves. And you can go ahead and do a follow with it. But one thing, if you do try to do a follow-up into his hard edge, you're gonna actually get less damage. You're gonna get 87 damage, whereas if you just let it rock, then you're gonna get more damage. So if you do get his command grab and you want to follow up into it, you should really spend bar to get the damage. But otherwise, if you do get this command grab without any intention to do a combo or follow up afterwards, like you just want to get the damage, then you should just use hard edge twice to cover the distance, get close to them, and build bar at the same time. So that's something you want to do if you get the command grab. One thing about the command grab, there's pretty basic knowledge from the beginning, but you can cancel his overhead into the command grab. Now the purpose of this is if you're oppressing your opponent, having him in a corner, things like that, and you feel like they're blocking a lot and you're throwing out this overhead, most people, if they have the reactions to block the overhead, they'll go ahead and block it. But because they're in the block animation, they're susceptible to being grabbed. So it's kind of like a trick mix up, because you're forcing them to block, but at the same time you're going for a grab, so it's gonna connect. And this is useful because Rock's command grab, it comes out in what's the frame? It's not instant, is what I'm trying to say, which means that you can't use that as a reversal like Clark's or King of Dinosaurs. There's no armor like Clark's or King of Dinosaurs, and it's not invincible like, let's see, it's not invincible like who has a invincible command grab? Diamonds. So the only way to get this off is if your opponent is sitting, but if they're blocking and mashing buttons and you're trying to get the command grab, they're gonna hit you out of it every single time. So that's one reason to use his overhead. Of course, if they're still mashing buttons while blocking, an option select of sorts, they can still hit you out of it. But if they're committed to blocking, then you can use that. The EX version is invincible. You can use it as a wake up option, as I'll demonstrate. Wait a minute. I think I got the wrong move. There we go. Okay, I was probably getting EX Reppuken instead. But yeah, you can use it as a reversal option. It's invincible. So for example, if the opponent is blocking, you can use this to set it up. If they're mashing, ordinarily they will beat you out because you're running into them and you're trying to delay it so that your command grab will connect, because obviously if you do it too early, they're still in block stun, the command grab won't connect. But But yeah, because it's invincible, you can use it on block. I mean, you can do a block string, and if they block it, you can go ahead and confirm it to quick max. The quick max dash will give you that distance to go forward, and then you can go ahead and use your invincible command grab. Obviously, if they jump, they can escape it. But if they're on the ground and they're committed to just sort of blocking your advances, then you can go ahead and just throw out your EX command grab. Now, if you know they're gonna jump, then what you would do instead is just go immediately into shorts, because if they're trying to jump out, obviously they're gonna get tagged by your shorts, and you can just go into EX hard edge instead. So that's one little mix-up that you can do with Rock Howard if you're on opponents that are blocking a lot and you're trying to open them up. Alright, so if you get the EX command grab, you can do a juggle. Just like EX counter, the opponent is going to be in the air for a long while, so you do have to delay whatever follow-ups that you're going to do to get the full juggle. Because if you do it too early, then they're gonna drop out of your combo. Alright, what else? Let's see. I guess it's all his specials. Let's go over his specials. I mean his supers. So we got Shine Knuckle. It comes out really fast. And does it have invincibility properties? Let's take a look. No, it does not have invincibility properties. It might have one frame of invincibility on Wake Up, so let's go ahead and test that out. So it does have a few frames of invincibility on Wake Up, but it doesn't have the ability to go through fireballs. The EX version, however, can go through fireballs. In fact, the max distance for Rock to go through fireballs, what I want to test is how far he can do the Shine Knuckle without getting hit by the fireball. So you can't do it like this, because if you're at this distance and they throw out a fireball and you're this far, then the invincibility for Shine Knuckle is gonna run out by the time you reach them. So you want to use it at a sort of mid-distance range. At this distance, the fireball won't hit you out of your Shine Knuckle, and you'll hit them, before they can recover. So the max distance that Shine Knuckle can travel is kind of far. Maybe from this distance here, I would say is the max distance. Anything farther than that would just be too far. Even though the animation of the yellow special effects looks like it's gonna hit them, but it won't. Alright. His other special is Raging Storm. So this move has a very vertical hitbox, so it's very useful to use against characters who are jumping in on you. And normally with most reversals in this game are kind of like most characters can jump over reversals in this game. So because of the vertical hitbox, it's very easy to use as a reversal against people who can overjump you. Now the regular version of Raging Storm, let's see if it has invincibility properties. Yeah, it does have some frames of invincibility on startup, but only a few frames, because there are encounters where Raging Storm level 1 comes out, same thing with Shine Knuckle, and it's possible for people to trade. One small property of Raging Storm that you should know about is that it can cancel projectiles. That time the projectile hit me before my Raging Storm even came out, but yeah, it's not very useful knowledge, but it is there just in case you have a very specific situation. But yeah, the EX version of Raging Storm does more damage, comes out faster, and it's more invincible, and it's always going to be 4 hits. So even if they jump at you like this, you're still going to get all 4 of the hits. So you don't need to worry about where they're hitting, or where they're you don't have to time it specifically to get all the hits. It's just gonna always hit. Now if you just let it rock like this, you can see that the animation lasts much longer than on hit, because on hit the 4 hits will happen and then the Raging Storm will disappear immediately. But on whiff, it will come out for kind of a longer while and lasts until, you know, if the game detects that they get hit, they'll still get all 4 hits. So let me go ahead and test that and show you what I mean. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into that Raging Storm after it starts up. Alright, that time already ran out. So you can see that I jump into it after it's already out, and it still gets the 4 hits. So that's the kind of property that Rock's Raging Storm has. It's not like you know, there's a set amount of hits and then, you know, you can get a partial amount. Alright, what else about Raging Storm? Oh, the EX version, you can hold it. There's no point to holding this. It doesn't make it unblockable like Ralph's super. It doesn't add more damage. It doesn't add more, you know, block damage or anything like that. There's no point to it other than tricking your opponent who doesn't know any better. Like maybe, for example, you throw a Reppuken and then you go ahead and do Raging Storm, and then they try to jump over or something, and you can just go ahead and delay the timing for it. It's not very obviously it's not going to work on more experienced players because they could just wait for the animation to end and then just run it and punish you. But you know, it's something, you know, obviously it's a tutorial, you want to know everything about your character, so there's that. Alright, his climax, Neo Deadly Rave. It's quarter circle forward, quarter circle back, and I'm watching the inputs. So Rock will run almost full screen, but not quite. So let me try a little bit away from full screen. It's still not getting that thing. So 3/4 of the screen, Rock will run. Now, whether it's invincible from all the way there, I don't think it is. So let me go ahead and test that. Oh wow, okay, so there is some invincibility, but let me see how far the invincibility reaches. There you go. It's not invincible all the way through, but it is invincible for a good amount of the running distance. You can use it for a punish for projectile users or people who are just throwing out button for full screen, because his run speed during this climax is really fast. Alright, and on block obviously is punishable just like any other super. That's about it for Neo Deadly Rave. You know, once he does a full animation, he does a really cool series of combos. It does very good damage. It's really good for combos. So if you ever land it, you know, you'll be set in a good position. Alright, now that's it for his moves. Let's go over his links. So we got Crouch and B, and Forward B. So this is the string that you want to use a lot, if you know, in general actually, because you can go into his light elbow, you can go into quick max, it hits low. It's very easy to do. You're just pressing the same button 3 times in a row. And on block, you can go ahead and go use Reppuken to give yourself frame advantage, but just a warning that they can jump over it and do a full punish. So that time I did a neutral jump. It's supposed to be a forward jump. There we go. So that could have been a full combo if I didn't drop the combo. So that's one thing you want to be careful when you're throwing out Reppukens in your strings. And you can get up to 4 hits with Rock. So if you do crouching A, standing A, and then go back to crouching B, far A, you can get a full, you know, a full quick max combo from it. But you have to press all four buttons right away. If you press any of them a little bit later, like that time I'm pressing it slow. So the character will be pushed away by the time my forward B connects. So make sure if you're doing this string that all 4 of your buttons are connected, or press immediately. But even if you do that, it's harder to get that confirmed just because it's possible for Rock Howard to get his far C. So for the sake of consistency, just stick with 3 hits. There's really no reason for you to have a 4th hit. You know, anybody can confirm in 3 hits. You don't need all 4 hits to do it. But it is there if you know, if you want to go ahead and get 4 hits. Now obviously for full combos, let's say you have no bar, you get a full punish. Just go into C, into command normal, into hard edge, and you know, or otherwise, you know, quick max. Alright. Oh, also, if you get a jump in and you know that your 3 hits is not gonna connect all the way, or it might not connect, just stick to 2 hits and Rock Out will get, you know, a good enough hit confirm. Alright, let's see, on block. Nah, that's about it. Never mind that. Alright, combos. So 1 bar combo, sorry, no bar combo, obviously just go into command normal into C hard edge, you get the hard knockdown. If you get a 1 bar combo, what you want to do is, if EX Reppuken into EX hard edge. Now for this combo, you need to let Rock run up a bit and just use C. Don't do his command normal, because if you do his EX Reppuken is gonna whiff. So command normal. Let me record the computer doing this so I can free myself up to speak. Alright, there we go. So C command normal, C EX Reppuken, EX hard edge into C hard edge. Now that gives you 357 damage, and that's a lot of damage for, you know, for a character on point with 1 bar. So it's very useful. If you can, always get that. It's a little bit harder to do, but it is possible from all of his block strings. Alright, now if you're in the corner, or actually if you find that too difficult to do, then just go ahead and go into his EX hard edge into C hard edge. Obviously, because you're just using 1 bar here, you know, there's no other EX move that you can use, so by the time your combo ends, you know, you're gonna run out of EX meter. I'm talking about on point Rock at the moment, and just using 1 bar. So it does a little bit less damage. It's not as optimal, but still damage. So if you find if you find this combo too hard to do, that's a combo you would do. Now in the corner, the combo gets a little bit better. So you can do the same string, EX hard edge, EX Reppuken, C rising tackle, and then a reset. So let me go ahead and let the computer do this. Alright, so that's 1 bar corner combo that you can do with Rock. As you can see, there's a really good amount of damage. EX Reppuken, C rising tackle break, A Reppuken, crouching C, and then you can do whatever mix up that you want. So from there, I did rage run shift. He's got advantage. He can short the opponent afterwards. After you do the rage run shift, after you do this, you can go ahead and go overhead. You can do shorts, or you can do command grab. So the mix-up is really, you know, entirely up to you how you want to do it. Or you can do another hop. Really, like whatever mix-up you want to use. I'm not gonna tell you how to do, you know, it's up to you to make up your mix-up. Yeah, that's a really good combo to do. So, you know, you can end it with A rising tackle, but you're actually gonna get less damage than, you know, ending it with crouching C. So there's really no point to using the A rising tackle. It is possible to do a super afterwards, but if you're gonna spend 2 bars like a combo, you would have just done the 2 bar combo instead. Alright, now here's another thing you could do with Rock in the corner. So say you get the same combo and you're in the corner. What you want to do instead is so there you go. That's the corner mix-up you can do with Rock. So you change it up. You just run up, just go straight into C, so you can get that 1 hit. Because if you do 2 hits, the EX Reppuken is gonna whiff. After the EX Reppuken, do C rising tackle, break, and then you delay it, because if you do this too early, then your opponent's gonna drop out of the combo. So you delay it, you use EX hard edge, you'll get the wall bounce, and then you'll get a corner side to side mix up. Now, I haven't really figured out the spacing as to what side you're gonna end up in. I probably should have, since, you know, I'm doing a tutorial, but you know, that's the situation. It's really, I've been trying to figure it out, but I haven't had any success trying to see what that is. Alright, now let me show you a different outcome for the side to side mix up. Alright, so you can see here, same combo, EX Reppuken, C Rising Tackle, EX Hard Edge. Now this time, when I did the reset, I changed it into Hard Edge instead. Now this pushes him past the opponent, so you end up on the other side instead. Whereas with Rage Shift, it is possible to end up on the other side, but most of the times I end up in the front. So just switch it up between Rage Shift and his elbow, the A version of Hard Edge, and you know, that's how you can control which side you're on. But otherwise, if you want to figure out how to, you know, use the same special but end up on different sides, you know, go ahead, feel free to do that, and let me know what the spacing is for that. Alright, so that's all the one bar combos with Rock. You know, plenty of damage anywhere on screen, and in the corner it's even more dangerous because you have the potential to mix them up. Now let's go over his 2-bar combos. So with Rock, if you're on point and you have 2 bars, what you want to go into is this combo. This is a combo that everybody uses. EX Hard Edge to get the wall bounce, C Hard Edge. With the C Hard Edge, you just throw it out. You don't have to worry about the timing. Just go ahead, throw it out, and it'll always connect. And that's your 2-bar combo. It's always going to be 500 damage. Now, if you get this in the corner, you don't want to go into C Hard Edge because first of all, it's going to whiff. Secondly, it's not optimal. But before I go into that 2-bar corner combo, I'm just going to go ahead and cover the variation for this combo if you're on second. So if you're on second with the Rock, you want to do this instead. So with this combo you get slightly more damage. Actually, let me test that right now. So that was 506, and this is gonna be, actually my bad guys, this should be for Anchor Rock. So for Anchor Rock, EX Reppuken, EX Hard Edge right after, C Hard Edge, and then into Super. Now you always want to end with Shining Knuckle. I should have mentioned this when I was talking about the supers, but between Raging Storm and Shining Knuckle, Shine Knuckle is always best for damage. Both of them give you a similar kind of setup in terms of hard knockdown, so it really doesn't matter what kind of setup you want. It's just the damage that you should go for. Now if you want to cancel into his climax, then you would use Raging Storm. But I'll cover that once we go over 5-bar combos. So yeah, so that's your 2-bar combo with Rock if you're on Anchor. It's more optimal, gives him a lot more damage. If you're going to use Raging Storm into his climax, it's going to give you even better damage. Alright, now if you have the corner, the combo you want to use is, should be this combo right here. Oops. So there you go. So the combo, EX Hard Edge, EX Reppuken, C Rising Tackle, A Reppuken, Special Cancel, Super Cancel into Raging Storm or Shine Knuckle. Raging Storm if you want to use the climax, Shine Knuckle if you're just gonna spend 2 bars. That'll give you, you know, a crap ton of damage. Now if you want to use 2 bars and using On Point Rock, let's see. Then here's the combo you would do: EX Reppuken, C Rising Tackle Break, C Reppuken into a Super Cancel. There we go. So that would be the 1-bar combo in the corner to use if you're on point or second, because the Anchor combo that I showed you with 2 bars in the corner only works with Rock Anchor. Now for the Super Cancel, you actually don't have to Super Cancel it. You can go ahead and just wait. You could just use the A Reppuken, and his Shine Knuckle will still connect. Now let's see about Raging Storm. Yeah, Raging Storm will also still connect. Obviously it will do a little bit less damage, but yeah, you don't have to super cancel the Reppuken. It's a matter of preference for your execution, I suppose. Alright, so that's pretty much all of the rock combos. For fireball combos, is really, I don't really need to cover it because I mean, like, it's the same combos except you're just ending it in Raging Storm, and then once you do Raging Storm, you just want to wait a bit and then go ahead and do the climax. If you do the climax too early, then Rock's gonna run under the character. Now for the timing, you want to let them, you know, fly up into the air off screen first, and then you can just go ahead and input his climax. So he's off the screen, and then once I see him off the screen, I just begin to input it, and then you know the combo will always connect. You just gotta practice it a few times. It's really easy to do. You don't have to worry about it. Alright, so let's cover the pros and cons of Rock Howard. So it's got easy combos. It's got high damage with any amount of bar and from any hit confirm in any position. So Rock can go anywhere. You know, you don't have to worry about, oh man, I need bar with my character to, you know, do some damage. You know, he doesn't have that situation. He can do plenty of damage with or without meter. Secondly, he's got mix-up. He's got a lot of mix-up. He's got an overhead with lower body invincibility. You could card cancel it from his overhead. Right now, just fucking it up. But there you go. He's got EX Command Grab, which is invincible. So you could just on block. On block, you could just, you know, put some fear into them. You know, if they don't know about this, they can just you could just run up and get the command grab. Alternatively, if they're not looking out for an overhead, you could just go, you know, rage run, dunk, get the ground bounce, get a full combo off of that. What else? He's got juggles from every EX move. EX Reppuken's a juggle. EX Hard Edge is a juggle. EX Counter is a juggle. EX Overhead is a juggle. And EX Command Grab. So no matter what EX move that you land, you're always gonna get a juggle. And if you have enough bar, if you're still in max mode, you can just go ahead and convert that to, you know, 2 bar damage. And then whatever super you end with, you're still gonna get, you know, 400, 500 damage. So high damage no matter what. What else? He's got all sorts of tools. He's got a projectile, he's got a command grab. Even though it's not invincible, you can card cancel it, and you can juggle afterwards. Let's see, he's got an invincible reversal without having to use bar. It's got an overhead into quick max, which not a lot of characters have, but you know, it's useful for quick max confirms. And he's got a counter. This counter is extremely useful. You know, does 100 damage, hard knockdown. You know, it's easy to pull off because it's just a quarter circle motion. Alright, negatives. If I have to think of one, is that his far normals are shorter compared to the rest of the characters. For example, like Far C, you know, it's his farthest reaching ground normal. Actually, I didn't know, but it actually pushes him forward. Okay, but even though it's his far-reaching normal on the game, in his boost set, it's very punishable. So you don't want to throw it out too often, especially against characters like Ralph. So you know, if you're going up against characters like Geese, Ralph, Moonwee, Loveheart, who else? Even Terry. You know, those characters can sort of outrange Rock at a neutral. I guess it does depend though, like how they play the neutral. I mean, obviously he still got his far B, but if there's any weakness I can think of Rock, it's that. It's not really a strong weakness at all, but it's something. It's still something that other characters have an edge over Rock. Alright, positions. If you've been listening the whole time, you know that Rock fits anywhere. On first, he's got easy confirms into lights. He's got damaging 1-bar combos. On second, he's got more damage with 2-bar combos. Because if you're on second, you're most likely going to have 2, 3, even 4 bars by the time you come in with Rock. And all of his 2-bar combos deal, you know, at least 500 damage. Now, third position, I think it's the ideal position for Rock. Because he's got a He's got an easy firepower combo. Deals a crap ton of damage. He's easy to pull off. You could do, you know, multiple 1-bar combos, multiple 2-bar combos to take out a character that has a lot of health, like maybe Ralph or Maxima. You can do raw max mode. Rock is one of the characters in King of Fighters where I feel the raw max mode is actually very beneficial for him, because he becomes so much scarier. He gains 2 reversals. He's got EX command grab, which I'm still fucking up because it's PC. He's got EX counter, so it's two reversals he has access to. He's got surprise overhead that can go into a full combo, and yeah, it's just really dangerous in max mode. Alright, strategies with Rock. If you're playing Rock, what should you be doing? Before you take Rock to a tournament or play against your friends, one thing you should have on hand under your belt is this combo. EX Reppuken. Doesn't matter if it's mid-scream, on point, anchor, or anything. Just having this combo, C straight into EX Reppuken, will increase your damage output by a lot. And what else? Learn all the possible mix-up with Rock. The side-to-side mix-up that I showed you. This one here. Make sure you have this timed. Make sure that you know how to do this so that it doesn't drop every single time you do it. And make sure you have your mix-up too. See that's pretty ambiguous right there. So make sure you have those mix-ups, and if you do the other corner combo where you want to keep the corner, this one here with the reset, make sure you have a follow-up in mind. Don't just do it just because it's optimal and cool looking. Make sure you follow with shorts, overhead, command grab. Do whatever mix-up you feel is going to work on your opponent. Just make sure that when you're using Rock and you're taking them to a tournament or anything, those are 2 things that you should have: the EX Reppuken optimal damage combo and mix-ups. Alright, he's got a lot of mix-ups. Oh yeah, I know I've already covered this before, but this, on block. If they are blocking too much, go ahead and open them up with the EX command grab, and if you feel like they're gonna jump out of it, go low and into EX hard edge. Or you can go into overhead, another overhead, maybe a double overhead. Oh, one more thing about his overhead, it's super cancelable. So if you ever get a overhead you want to commit to, something gimmicky like that, that's an option. Alright, so let's move on to his strategy now. So offense, you want to do this string a lot, right? Because I feel like this is the life source of Rock's gameplay right here, because you can confirm into anything, you can trip card opponents, you can empty jump with it, you could convert it into a full combo off of it. Really, it's if you're not doing this as with Rock, I don't know what you're doing with Rock, but you should be doing that a lot. Don't use hard edge randomly. It's possible to just sort of use it in a weird way, like Andy Zanakin. But the thing is, Andy Zanakin, he recovers a lot faster than Rock. Rock's hard edge doesn't recover that fast, so if you're out of reach, then they're gonna get a full punish on you if they're able to react on it. And don't use it too close too. Like if you're doing this string, don't do it from this distance with 3Bs, because that's also punishable by light normals. So if you do this string and they block, just don't do anything afterwards. Cancel to Reppuken maybe once or twice, but don't give your opponent a chance to adapt to it, because if you do it for a 3rd time or maybe a 5th time, they're gonna be able to jump punish you. Alright, what else? Don't attempt to zone with Rock. Don't ever zone with Rock. It's got a lot of startup, a lot of recovery. It doesn't give you a fireball trap like Athena or Kenzo. It doesn't benefit you whatsoever. Also, it's easy to react to, because there's quite a bit of wind up for Rock. For me, if you're trying to zone with Rock, it's a waste of movement on your part, right? You can use them block strings like after You can use it after a block string, after a blowback, for example. Right? You can use it after you knock them down, and you want to lock them down with a fireball just to get the extra chip damage or something like that, or maybe test their reactions. But don't do it to zone them out unless you're negating other projectiles, right? And even then, if you're trying to negate another projectile, you're better off just neutral jumping, right? That's the best way to deal with fireballs in just about any fighting game, is to just neutral jump and stick out on normal. See, like, the fireball doesn't add anything to your gameplay, so that's just something you should just avoid using. Alright, when you get a knockdown, for example, with hard edge, what I like to do with rock is just close the distance with hard edge a lot. So any kind of knockdown, where you get a regular throw, you get a you hit them with a fireball and they fall down, you get a blowback, just close the distance with hard edge, because the shift in distance from where he is and where he appears can throw off the opponent. Maybe they're jumping in at you, and you can go under them with hard edge and you can go ahead and trip guard them. Or they might be trying to run in at you because you're outspacing them. They get frustrated, they try to run in, a hard edge will smack them in the face. It's the point, the idea here is to make your movement unpredictable. And hard edge helps you a lot with that, right? Because they're not going to be expecting a character to dash forward in the form of a hitbox. Obviously mind the distance, because obviously if you're too close, then they're going to be able to punish it. If you hit them with the tip, it's safe, so that's another thing. And what else? The forward moving hitbox will make them more likely to block, because if they see something like this, or Zanakin, or Burn Knuckle, the first instinct for an opponent is to just block. Alright, what else? Excessive use of overheads and command grabs to make them susceptible to lows. Don't wait for the moment to close out the round with an overhead or a command grab, right? Use it right away, right? Because that's when it's the least obvious. If you're trying to close out the round with an overhead, that's when it's really obvious, So at the beginning of a round, force your opponent to think about it, like, oh shit, he's gonna overhead and command grab, and he's willing to use it. And the more they're likely to look out for that, the more they're likely to be opened up by other things. So for example, just simple shorts. It's all part of mentally conditioning your opponent to do something that you want them to do. And when you have them in the palm of your hands, that's when you have more freedom to kind of like to be offensive, right? Your offensive becomes more unpredictable and your defense becomes more predictable, right? That's the point of me advising you to throw out overheads and command grabs more often, is to just confuse the opponent more, make them think about it. Alright, what else? On block, I pretty much covered that already. If you want to mix up and you go into quick max and they're blocking, just use EX command grab, maybe EX rage run. Now let's move on to defensive stuff. So for defensive options, same thing as I was talking about with overheads and command grabs, is to use counter a lot at the beginning, right? Because a lot of people are not going to really expect. Actually, a lot of players don't use counters in general. For example with Geese. So when they see it, they're forced to think about it. And after the first 1 or 2 times that they get hit by it successfully, then they're gonna think twice about their offensive options. And also, I feel in general the trend is that the earlier you use counters, the more success that it will have. The later you use counters in the round, the less success that you will have, because once your opponent is dwindling your HP down and they feel like they're gonna, they're trying to close out the round, they could sense your desperation. They can sense, okay, what are his defensive options, right? He might counter, so I'm just gonna let the counter, let the counter come out, and I'm just gonna punish it. So it's the ideal. That's what I'm trying to say about counters becoming predictable the later in the match. Alright, so reversal options. Use a rising tackle, obviously. Use it to blow up people who are trying to mix you up, like Nelson, for example. Again, I feel reversals work best when you're doing it earlier in the round, because earlier in the round, they might not have bar to punish you, but if you wait until your life is at 50% or 25%, that's when it becomes more predictable, and that's when they have bar to finish you off. So use you know, your defensive options when your HP is above 50%. Alright, what else? Far B and far B or C into quick max between holes. So for example, your opponent is doing this sort of like a weird block string, right? And for lack of a character that, let's see, so if they're doing this kind of string with you and they have you know, frame traps and things like that, actually that wouldn't work against Rock because that frame trap's actually pretty good. But if you sense a hole in your opponent's frames or sorry, strings, then go ahead and throw out B. Oops. So for example, they're trying to harass you like this, and that time I was outranged. You know, stick out a far B, and if you're able to confirm from it, go ahead and go into a quick max. Alternatively, you can use C. So let me retrace and redo that point. Using far B and far C for counter poking. If there's a hole in your opponent's strings, use far B and far C are your most effective tools, right? Far B has the range and the speed. Far C also has the range and speed, and either of them can go into a full quick max confirm. Obviously B is a little bit harder to do because of the hit stun, but if you're able to do it, by all means just go ahead and do a full combo. And lastly, if you're in raw max mode, EX counter, don't forget about it, and EX command grab. Those are your reversal options. So remember, if you're in quick max, for whatever reason, maybe you popped it raw, maybe you dropped the combo, you know, just keep in mind that you gained 2 reversal options. Alright, that's about it with Rock. I feel like I might have missed some things. I feel like there's something missing about this tutorial, but I might do an addendum for it. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot about Rock. Oh, you know what? I could talk a bit about fighting against Rock, I suppose. If I was fighting against Rock, here's one thing I would keep in mind. First, his reversal options. Secondly, his mix-up options, right? So I'm fighting against Rock, let's say I know his command grab is not invincible. So the only way he could set it up is after a jump in, or if he uses it on my wake up. So if I block a jump in, I'm just gonna mash jab. Even if he does a card cancel command grab, as long as I'm mashing jab, then I could beat out his command grab. Now the reason I don't mention shorts is because the lower body invincibility. Now right here I'm actually able to hold on. There we go. Now the only reason I was able to beat him out with shorts is because he was too close. But ordinarily, remember, the lower body invincibility makes it, you know, makes your shorts whiff. So that's why I recommend that if you're fighting against Rock and you're looking out for overhead, use his jab. Use crouching jab for whatever character that you're using, because it's gonna hit the overhead. What else? Let's see. If you see them doing Reppuken strings like this, know that you can jump over them. It's not free. Just watch out. Know that his counter is not active on the first frame. So the only thing you need to watch out for is a rising tackle, and of course it's a charge move, so they need to be, you know, crouching to charge it. So if they're standing up, obviously they're not gonna have an available reversal option unless they spend the bar. But very few players actually spend bar just to do a reversal in this game. So it's relatively okay to just rush in on Rock as long as they're standing. And what else? Another thing, the reason I pointed out that you need to look out for his overhead and command grab is because when you think about a character and you're playing defense against them, you think about, okay, what are the ways that this character can open me up, right? So command grab, he can go ahead and break and go into a full super. Overhead, obviously he can go and do a quick max confirm off of it. So if you're fighting against Rock, train yourself to react to his overhead. Just like drive it down mentally that as soon as you've seen this animation, you know, your character will block high. Or if they're known to be doing that command grab shenanigan, then just go back low and go ahead and press jab. Alright, that's about it that I can think of when talking about Rock. Oh yeah, one more takeaway for rock juggles. So I think I might have covered this, but when it comes to EX hard edge, to get the corner juggle, your character has to be all the way, the opponent has to be all the way in the corner. So by the time I do hard edge and I get the wall bounce, the character that's being, you know, in the wall bounce state has to be all the way in the corner. Right? If they're not all the way in the corner, they're not gonna get EX Reppuken. So right now I can get the EX Reppuken, but let me go ahead and push my character away from the corner a bit. I'm gonna do EX hard edge. That time he's still in the corner. So if I do a combo from this distance, I'm still gonna get the corner combo. But if I do it from, let's say, this distance, I'm not gonna get. Okay, that time I was able to push them far enough. But for example, oops. So for example, if I'm doing EX hard edge from this distance, the Reppuken's gonna whiff. Right? You get the first hit, but you won't get the second hit. So make sure that if you combo your character towards the corner, make sure that wall bounce is there. So the reason I got that wall bounce is because when I did my quick max combo, I let Rock run up a bit to push them further into the corner. But if I didn't do that, let's say I just did really quickly like this, I'm not gonna get the corner combo. So situational awareness is really important for Rock if you're deciding between a corner combo and, you know, a mid-screen combo, right? If you quick max your opponent from, let's say, a little past mid-screen, you should still get the corner combo. You just might have to delay his confirm a bit. It also depends, you know, because obviously from a hard confirm, you know, I'm pushing him forward a lot, but if I was doing it from lights, it'd be a different story. Actually, I was close enough to the corner, but yeah. So yeah, that's the story behind hard edge into EX Reppuken. Just make sure that your opponent is all the way in the corner when the wall bounce happens, right? See, that's not gonna connect. Alright, so that's the end for the Rock tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you get any questions or if there's anything I missed out, and thank you for listening.